Check, check, check. All right. All right. I think we're back. Before I get absolutely flustered here. What the hell is going on? No idea. Hey, what's going on at Wargamers Con in Austin? What the? Seriously? Have fun. Have all the fun. I think I got the mic working. I'm going to be painting this guy. That's what I'm doing. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Is this thing on? This thing on? Always figures. Freaking Windows, man. I'm at the last droplets of primer in this bottle. It's a very, very sad day, actually. Very, very sad when you reach that spot that you're like, oh no, wait a minute. Where's the other bottle of primer? Do we even have any more primer? Would be the next question. That would be a very valid question because I don't know that I know the answer to that. So there could be all sorts of bad things come from this model. It's already got the eightfold path hitting us. Big Bob, what is going on? Friday, you got paid or you're already drunk. So now he's throwing money at us, chat. Everybody, put some hearts in chat for Big Bob, doing Big Bob things. Being a cool guy. I want to be a cool guy. Let me move this so I'm not completely out of whack here. I also don't really have a good method of holding this bad boy for painting, so he's going to be all sorts of interesting watching me fuss with it, right? And realize that his big old wingspan and stuff is way out of control big. Touching up some of the primer spots where underneath all this layered armor, still bright spots peeking out. You think you get them all, and then guess what? You don't. That just, you're wrong. Right? You stare at a model, you're priming, you're like, oh man, that was awesome. I'm done. I'm so excited. And then you go to paint it, and you're like, oh, wow. Look at half the model I missed. Especially on something like this where it's literally all layered upon layer of armor. No matter what I do, there's always going to be a spot that doesn't have any primer on. That I'm pretty much resigned to at this point. Set him over here. See if we can't eke out a little more primer. This is it. Everybody pray. Pray to the primer gods. Oh, it's working. You guys are good at praying. We got like 4 drops, man. Feel like that looks pretty good. Oh, no, right there. Pulling a JP Gray and we're painting our fingers more than we're painting the model. Or was that Uncle Touchy? I feel like that was JP Gray. Sorry, guys. I'm focused. I'm laser focused right now, and Jen's working. She's in the background. You might see her poke her head around the corner every now and then. She's got infinite orders. Huh? She's got what appears to be infinite order syndrome. We're going to take her to the hospital if it doesn't work itself out by tomorrow, but... World leaders, what's going on? We were supposed to. Oh, they didn't bring it. No, they didn't bring it. That sucks. I knew there was something missing on the order. Why, are you out? I think if we missed a spot now, we're just kind of screwed and we just got to live with it. So, because that was the last 4 drops of primer in that bottle. Goodbye, everybody. Say goodbye. Later. Later. Drac, what's going on? Paint his hands blue. That's right. I feel like he came and visited and was in the studio, and we gave him a airbrush and instantly regretted the act. Instantly regretted the act. Like, wait a minute, that was not good. We shouldn't have done that. Oh man, and I forgot that I needed a little bit. We're gonna have to. I'm not gonna spray it. I'm hoping maybe we can dig out a drop of that primer with a brush. Because I forgot there's a little bit on the weapon hand that needed to be done too. Bye-bye. What do you mean, Big Bob? Bye-bye. New mic fund or beer? No, the mic's fine. The mic's fine. It's the computer. Right? And it's not even the computer. I want to be nice to the bye-bye to the primer. But the it's not even the computer, right? I got to be nice to the computer. The computer does a good job. It's the fact that the poor computer runs on Windows 10, which is so frustrating. It seems like it's not every update, but every now and then you get an update with Windows 10 that completely jacks the audio drivers around and patches where all your inputs and outputs on the computer are going for some reason, some unknown reason. I don't know why. Okay, we're rebirthing it. Okay, everybody chant. This is necromantic crap going on right here. A little bit of necromancy. We're bringing back the primer bottle. You guys don't report me to the higher authorities. But I got important stuff going on here, and I don't have time to be jacking around with going and finding another bottle of primer. So we're resurrecting this one for a split second. Hey, who the hell likes us? Grimdork. Great name. Great name. What's going on, Grimdork? His weapon hand just had a little bit of priming that needed in the knuckle area. So I pinned the weapon hand. Right? I did the good. Okay, now say goodbye. Bye-bye. You're gone. That goes over there. Nobody cares. Until I find that we missed another spot with primer, and then we'll raise it from the dead again. Little necromancy never hurt nobody. I mean, that sounds almost legit. If I need more Drac, I'll do that. Do I put flow improver into the primer? Never. Never. Otherwise, if you start thinning it or put flow improver in it, it just becomes black paint, right? Which doesn't mean it's bad, but I like the primer the way it is, so it gums up the brush. You can't run a whole lot through the brush because it's very thick, but that's okay. But who cares? I mean, who cares? Who cares? You just do it. But no, I don't put any flow improver or thin my primers ever. Run them straight through. Now I run a 0.5 needle in my priming brush. The Badger Patriot 105 that we prime with, right, is got a 0.5 needle in it. So it's the larger of the detail needles, right? So it allows a lot of paint through, but it still gets gummed up, and I got to clean the crap out of it every now and then, like scrape it. It feels like I got to sandblast the damn innards of the thing every now and then, but whatever. I get better prime jobs that way. Happy Friday to you too, Drek. That's lewd. Yes. No. I mean, wait. What? Wait, what? Did I magnetize the head? Yes. Oh, no, not the hands. The one arm had to be connected because it had a seam that had to be filled. So this arm, there was a gap in the inside of the elbow that I had to go in and fill in there because there was a gap. So I had to fill that, and so I had to put this arm on, but I didn't put the weapon on, obviously, right? So the weapon will paint separately, or maybe we won't paint it separately, but we'll glue it on after the fact, and then we'll paint this. I've just primed it, so I can probably glue it on. It's got an area where I can't really pin it, so I think it'll be positively held in there with glue very well. But once we get the rest of the model done, we'll glue that on the flail head. I magnetized the heads, right? We've got stretched laughing face head, which we'll do second, I think, because I really am a fan of this guy. Then we got, traditional like goat demon head. So I just magnetized those. That's the only stuff that's magnetized. The other wrist is pinned, right? It just has a pin on it that I've placed and I've drilled in there, right? And I matched those up and made sure they work. And then when we get done painting this, I'll clip that pin off and just glue it up in there. And just glue it up in there. I wish he stood up. I wonder, you know what I should do? I wonder if I could just glue like a big base on one of his feet, right? Just like temporarily, just kind of like this, so he stands up, because he won't fall over if that's on there. What do you think? Think that's big enough, or do I need a bigger base? Will a 40 mil base like that work? Maybe? Worth a try, let's do it? Okay. I agree. I agree, chat. Let's do that. That looks kind of like your ex. She's a pretty girl. Or, I'm sorry, pretty dude. Derry, what's going on? Thank you so much for that, host. Welcome, everybody. Hope the week has been treating you well. It is Friday. TGIF. Jen is working her butt off in the background. She'll peek around there and say hi every now and then, or she'll be in chat or something. And then maybe she'll join us after she gets all the orders done. As you know, we released the King of Ecstasy, this guy that we'll be painting, along with all the go bags. Old paints are back in stock. It's crazy, right? So it's been one of those nuts infinite orders weeks, which is great. Thank you guys and gals so much for doing that. Supporting the biz. Muchos gracias. But that means she can't join us. She can't have fun painting. She has to have, because she has more fun packing boxes anyway. And she doesn't like to tell us that. But she definitely enjoys cardboard better than us. It's very sad. She's screaming no in the background, but don't believe her. He's a liar. How's she doing all the work? And you get to have the fun painting? Wait, paintings work, right?
Go around here.
Oh, did you see that? You see what I have to live with? Oh, now she's caressing me. Now she's no. She wins because she gives head rubs. And then it's all over. My anger just is soothed. She knows how to soothe the inner beast. She just walks up and rubs my head. And then I'm like, oh. That's probably not going to work very well. I feel like that's very teetering on Stinky Gamer. What's going on? 13 freaking months. Thank you. Welcome back. I feel like he's going to fall over about a bajillion times, but we'll wait until it's a big problem. Oh, yep, see, already. Two kinds? I mean, I'm used to one kind of wet in my pants. What's the other kind? What's going on? Kenny, what's happening? Voodoo Von Acid Bath and Voodoo Turtle. Wait a minute. What is happening? What's going on? Kevrog, Warpig, what's happening? Vane, what's going on? Shinkai, Love Minis. Howdy, y'all. What's happening? Marveleth, what's going on? Voodoo Turtle. It's Voodoo Von Acid Bat's pet, Voodoo Turtle. What is going on? Great name, by the way. So we are going to be starting in on the King of E, the King of Ecstasy today. New model, just released yesterday. We built him on stream yesterday. Well, we built some of him. The Wraith, what is going on? Thank you for the follow. Welcome, everybody. Hope you enjoyed your stream over with Kenny. We're going to carry you on into the lullaby hours of the night here on a Friday with TGIF. And, yeah, we're going to be painting this awesome beastie. We've got lots of bits and stuff. Or probably 32 freaking months. Get some hearts in chat. Right, so he's got a flail that we'll be painting separately. I left some of the weapon and stuff. The butt skirt I left off. He's got a butt skirt. Cover his rear and his hairy balls. He has a butt skirt that goes on. We'll be painting those separately, just so we have access to all of the other bits easily while we're painting. I was just showing everybody I magnetized the heads, so we'll be doing both of the heads that you get, but I did select the weapons. I decided I wasn't going to do magnetized weapons. I'm just gonna go with what I like. QC Punk, what is happening? Welcome. So we're doing the flail, and then the other weapon is this thing. Kind of like a one-handed halberd thing. So it goes here on that hand. Eventually. So we paint those all separate. All four of those pieces will be painted separately, or 5 pieces, I guess, with the 2 heads. Those heads, you've got You've got the smiley skin stretched and stitched face on this one. And then we've got the more traditional kind of goat's head demonic being on this one. This is the one that I'm going to focus the most time on first. And then we'll do the other guy second. Secondary head. War Pig, what's going on? Welcome, everybody. Cosmic, what's happening? Kilty, welcome back. Sapper Steve, is that a massive demonic horn in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me? Yes. The answer is always yes to those questions, right? Is that a massive roll of, is that a Tootsie Roll Pop, or are you just happy to see me? Yes. Jester of Dark, what's going on? Fast time for order to shipping. Oh man, Jen is. That's why she's not with us. That's why she's not sitting in her chair right here. Hi, it's Hand Jen. Real Jen is back there. Wave. There's Real Jen in the background waving. So she's still working. Because yesterday we released the King of E. The OG paint sets are back in stock. All those paint colors are back in stock. There were a few of them that were out. Well, not all the models. There's still like 1 or 2 models that aren't in stock, but we got restocks of all the models. Go bags have been huge. Thank you so much. Like, go bags are literally like just out the door. Bow. Did you just throw one across the room? She's trying to show you guys in the background how pretty the blue bag is, and it fell out of the bag. So there you go. So somebody's going to get a blue bag with our office dirt on it. So little used. Yeah, I think the blues and the purples are gone. I think the blues and purples were limited edition, and I think they're gone. So time to cry. She says there's no dirt, but she's lying. There you go. Hyped to see the go bag when it arrives. Yeah, heck yeah, man. For all of you guys that were lucky enough, it was free dirt. We actually charge extra for that, Jester, so don't get all excited. Cosmic Cubicle got both limited bag colors. Holy greedy. Yeah, we had a bunch of people that were like buying both. They were like, all right, I know what that is. That's cornering the market for later. They're the people that are going to be like, guess what I have? Yep, eBay, $5 million, purple go bag. Wait for it. It'll happen. It'll happen. Did you hold up a red one? I mean, I know we didn't get red ones, but I keep teasing people. I think it took it to the house when I was taking photos. It's not here. She'll taunt you at some point during the stream. Mensa Nerds, what's going on? It's not greed. It's avarice. I think you meant avarice. What's going on, Mensa Nerds? Good to see you. Taylor, we're going to see a go bag fly across the office and hit me in the back of the head. How dark is the blue? It's not very dark at all. I mean, okay, it is dark, but it's still a good blue. Like, it doesn't look black. You got one? Did you have a blue? Want to pass that over to me? I'll show them. I really, really like the blue. But yeah, Jen said she thinks we're out of stock on them. That's the blue. Delicious blue bag. Delicious blue bag. It might be over here. No. Green, black, green. I don't know. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. You offer same throwing service. If Mustang ordered a go bag, can you ensure proper delivery methods? Yes. Yes, if you tell him to put a note on there saying, hey, Big Bob wants my bag to show up dirty, Jen will do it. Yeah, Jen doesn't, I mean, Jen, if you put the note on there, man, she aims to please, right? She'll go run over it in the car. If you want it like used and abused, she'll make it happen. She'll take her frustrations out on your bag prior to it showing up at your door. If she really liked you, she'd stream. Yeah, I know. But I told you, she likes cardboard better. Dogcat Jones, awesome. Glad you're digging him. Kevrob, yes, the heads are magnetized. You can kind of see the magnet in there. But yeah, the heads are magnetized on him. Head 1. Head 2. Actually, this is head 1 because this is the one we're going to be painting, right? I'm a fan of the goat head with the big, huge crest on it. So that's the one we're going to be focused on first. But they're magnetized so that we don't have to jack around with them being in the way because that big crest and the other one's hair is really hard to work around. Silly googly eyes on the bag? That would be cool. Jester's got the right idea. Now you're talking. We do have a big box of googly eyes at the house, too. Your wife wanted purple? Yeah. All right, let's get going. Welcome, everybody. Right, let's, so the consensus yesterday while we were building, I let chat kind of, guide my hand as to what we were going to do for color, general color like skin, so on and so forth. And I think that we kind of came to rest on a human skin tone that as it works out into the extremities, we'll figure out another color. Some people had said jade. I don't know how jade is going to work, but it's not impossible to see, right? Like we've got the kind of xenomorph, alien, chitin, tyrannid-ish looking arms on this guy, right? And so all of that tears out of the skin on his back. So we'll have the human tendons. They'll get probably, bloody-ish, although I don't know. He's got like his spine showing. So there's a lot of stuff here that we could either treat as open wound and have it be, like the flesh flayed, which I like, because of the model. And then do the human skin that kind of moves towards the extremities and start moving into like a jade or a real dark jade. We could play around with some color and how that works with the airbrush and see what we like. And just, kind of play around until we land on something that really feels right, I think is going to be the goal. Yeah. Sound good. And then we will, so the first thing we're going to do, though, I believe, is get that skin color down because the skin is really in the deepest recesses here. We've got some in the hip areas. Obviously, we'll go ahead and paint the butt, but it's covered. But you can still see up underneath his nether regions. So there's not a whole lot of skin, but we're going to start with that. And then we got to figure out what we want to do with the armor. Or I guess, you know what? I guess we got to think about this, huh? Yeah. Airbrushing the skin is probably going to be the best idea because we do have these areas that are really in deep underneath all these armor panels. And the airbrush is going to give me the easiest way to get a little color in there without having to try to wing a brush around. And then if worse comes to worse, I can mask off those areas and then airbrush the armor as well, as opposed to, although the armor's in enough, it's in enough, what are we trying to say here, panels, that airbrushing doesn't really do us a lot of good. There's only a couple of the panels, like on the shin, that are big enough to really care. The rest of the armor is all kind of in segments. That's what I was looking for. It's all segmented. So the back of the leg, the inverted knee, or on the back of the calves is the only place where there's a big enough area on the armor to really care about. The rest of it, we'll just hand paint it. All right, so we'll airbrush the skin. Easy decisions made easier through logic. Kevrob, has your order shipped? Have you gotten an email saying it shipped? If you've gotten an email saying it's shipped, it's shipped. If you haven't, then check your spam. Mm-hmm. Isn't he? You in the U.S.? I feel like you're in the U.S. A butt is a butt. Got to make it beautiful for those weird people that turn the model and check up the skirt. Well, this one, yeah, the skirt doesn't cover much, right? So it's, it does from like just dead on. The skirt covers what we're looking at, but you'll still be able to see the tush and the hairy balls. So we'll go ahead and paint all that. We'll give it the once over. We'll give it the good old-fashioned college try. I still feel like I need a bigger base. This is not going to work. Let's pop this off and do something different down here. All right. Before this gets to be too big of a hassle here, let's go ahead and pop that off. And get him a bigger one. I think I got a 50 mil over here. Ah! Or a piece of card would be good. Or actually what would be good is like a 120 mil base. Do I has? What we really need, you see, is like one of Jen's CDs. Like steal one of Jen's Britney Spears CDs. That would be a good... What? Huh? I wasn't... Did you hear me? I wasn't saying anything. Were you hearing things again? That's not healthy, honey. Guilty. Yeah, CDs are great. They give you a much better holding surface for the model. All my CDs are in storage, believe it or not. I don't think I have any CDs at the house. I might be wrong about that. There might be some of my old CD cases at the house. I feel like that might be a thing, but they might be like out in the storage building. I know they're CDs or DVDs or something that I don't give a damn about anymore at the house. I should bring a bunch of them here to the studio. One drop, 2 drop, 3 drop. Do that real quick. Just so I can set him down. I don't mind holding him when I'm painting because it's not like that each of the appendages are going to be different colors, like armor on the hoof and, you know, chitin on the arm, so I don't care. I can hold an arm or a leg or whatever as we're going. We'll just glue him down. Okay, Rob, you just placed it, so why hasn't it shipped? Well, blame Jen. That's all I can say is blame Jen, right? Did you just place the order? Like just now? Because it should have shipped already. Like usually it ships before you place it, and we just bill you. Your bag shows it should arrive on Monday. Yeah, the only way we could deliver any faster than Jen does is to go back in time and deliver it before you ordered it. That's literally about the quickest that we'd be able to do. The demons are at it again. Bastards never stop. All right. I don't know. I'm going to hold this a little longer. Just cuz. Just cuz. Just cuz. Then we'll do some skin. So the idea that we have, generally when I'm doing human style skin tones, I start with like a dark umber base. So that's what we're going to do. Start with dark umber, then we'll move to shadow flesh. Right. Dark umber, shadow. I'm not going to do black brown because I don't want him to be that dark skin. You could start with the dark black brown, as opposed to the burnt or the dark umber. The black brown, and then with the shadow flesh gives us like what we did on the Dracon, right? So we get the ability to do a really, really nice, dark, you know, almost African style skin, but still get a little bit of pinkishness in it. But I don't want it to be that dark, so we're going to start with the dark umber instead of the black brown. It'll still give us a really nice, deep shadow color, but it won't be as dark. So grab our trusty Grex that had purple in it last time, it appears. And maybe we'll run some water through that real quick. God knows, we've been painting a lot of purple around here lately. That's why if anybody said purple on this guy, I was like, no, I don't think so. No, I mean, no, why would you paint him purple? I was looking for every excuse in the book not to have to paint purple on this guy. Doesn't mean purple can't be like a highlight color somewhere along the line, but not really interested in lots of purple. If you haven't tuned in, or if it's your first time here, lately we've been painting a lot of War Machine Protectorate of Minoth, and we've been doing a lot of purple on our Minoth. So the purple has been fine. It's been great. I'm really enjoying it. The army's looking good as we slowly get it together, right? But I'm sick of purple, dude. Like, I'm very, very sick of purple because we've been painting a lot of purple lately. So there you go. That's lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of purple. We're not gonna do that anymore. Don't be a purplist. You're racist against purple. No, because I'm painting a whole army that way. How can you say that? Some of my best friends are purple. What do you mean? Jester of Dark, thanks. Yeah, we'll be working on that more. I've got to stop and kind of refocus on the King of E. This is the studio model. We just released it yesterday. Like I said, this will be the painted one for all of the studio pictures and for the web and all that. So 3, 4. I'll put 4 drops. I don't know if there's enough skin for 4 drops, but that's what we're doing. Dart Thrower, 28 freaking months, Dart Thrower. Firmly planted in the Lying Liar Who Lies Club. That man. Get some hearts in chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Some flow improver. I never know why I shake it, but I do. It's just habit. Put about that much. We're very scientific with it. Jester of Dark, choosing to use that Twitch Prime. Thank you so much, my friend. Welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome. Light and Passion, what's going on? Where's the actual streamer? Working. We got her working. She's behind. See, we left her camera on so you could see her. She's had her place taken by all the boxes. Right? There she is. That's her right there. I'm squishing your head. She's working. She's here. She's still breathing. We haven't taken her out to pasture yet. Yori, what's going on? Holy hell, how you been? Good to see you, man. Dealer of Death, what's happening? You somewhat used your dark camo green buildup. On what? For what? For who? For why? Your 1/8 purple on your stepmom's side. I have to, okay. So, I'm sorry if I offended anybody by making negative comments about purple. All right? I wasn't attempting to be belligerent or bigoted against purple. I was just saying that we've been hanging out with a lot of purple lately, and I need some time away. I need to be able to find myself, collect my inner thoughts, and get back to being me, and not have to focus so much on the needs of purple. Okay? So that's all I'm saying, and I feel like you should allow me my space to find that breathing room again, right? Okay? So let's just all calm down. That's one of those times where if you just showed up in here and you have no idea what we're talking about, you're probably like, what is he back on the crack rock? It's hard to stay away from the crack rock, I gotta tell you. I actually did get some sleep last night. Thanks for nobody asking, even though you guys don't seem to care, but I got some sleep. I hadn't slept much yesterday, so yesterday's stream was probably a lot of babble. Some people really dig it when all I do is babble. It does get some interesting conversations rolling. Okay, so the gist here is just a very, very thin layer of this dark umber over our black primer, right? Notice how you're still seeing some of the black show through in the shadows. I'm not trying to get a really, really consistent coat of brown. I just want full coverage. If it's thin in some places and allows more black to show through, that's fine. Because all this is our shadow color, right? If you're new here, if you haven't watched me paint a lot, you'll know that I kind of prescribe or subscribe, I guess is the right word. I subscribe to the method of painting where I go from shadow to brightness, and you don't find me painting shadow at the end of a model very often, right? I rely on all of my shadows getting really good coverage at the very onset, and so that's what we do. So I pick a color like this for my skin, and I'm going to just do shading here. All of our base skin colors are going to fall back to this really nice, rich, deep brown. that we get from putting the umber over the black. Feel a little heavy on some of these spots. I think all that's armor. All that's armor. Get some brown down in his thigh, in this, you know, hey, good job, Jason. Put the freaking armor plate on before you've painted all the bits underneath. That's smart. You're a very bright individual. Got a lot of big things in your future. You keep using your brain like that. Schmuck. I'm just gonna kind of go hard in the paint there. Throw a lot of color down in those areas so that the thighs at least get some brown shoved in there. Armor, armor, armor everywhere. Right. Again, you'll notice I'm not really caring about direction of color. A lot of times we talk about, you know, making sure that you're always painting with your airbrush from the direction of your light source, things like that. When you're doing your shadow layer, that's not a thing, right? You're not worried about where light is coming from. You're really just trying to get overall representation of what your shadows want to look like. Now we're going to use purples. We'll come back with some blues on this, greens, things like that as we work. But this first color, really, really simple. Just get coverage anywhere where you think you're going to want the humanish skin. So we've got this layer that looks like, you know, it kind of extends down the arm there. So I'm just going to go ahead and get some brown down that layer and do the same thing here. It's like flayed skin that goes down the demon arm. I want to get all those areas. But I'm going to go ahead and put a little brown on the back of these hooves, even though I know that by the time we get to the appendages, we want to find another color that they're going to turn. But we'll use a little bit of this brown so that no matter what happens, we've got a base layer. So if we want to show some of that humanish skin tone, we can. You know, and for that reason, I guess we probably ought to think the same way about these claws. We'll just go ahead and put a little bit of the brown out here too. Kind of feather it along these surfaces. We've got it in the airbrush to use, so let's do it. If we cover it up and we don't decide we want to see any of it, that's fine too. Notice how I'm not here even worried about complete coverage. I'm just kind of spotting it around, just so that maybe we find some brown through the jade or teal or whatever color we decide to use out on the extremities here. Okay. All that arm over here, I think that's all armor. That elbow right there. What's that? First green bag? Yeah, everybody's been focused on limited colors. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Don't think there's anything else. Maybe a little bit of color in between these armor plates here. It looks like there's some of the hoof hair and flesh down in there. Might keep that brownish think all of the leg is all layered armor panels, though. Yeah, no flesh showing through any of that. And then again, we'll just kind of spot these arms with some color. Pretty good. Pretty easy. Not a whole lot there. We'll go ahead and make sure we get his hand on the weapon before I make big mistakes and forget that, hey, there's other stuff over here, dude. Even though it's just a small area, we could easily paint this with the brush. A lot of times I go ahead and do it all, obviously, with airbrush. I hope it's obvious why you would do that, right? So that you get the exact same effect. Same with the face here. Here's, I'm going to go ahead and get this area where it sits into the neck and brown as well, just so it doesn't wind up with some sort of weird color ring. That's good. And this too, I guess. I think on this head, it does what we talk about even more, right? This doesn't look like it would be human flesh at all, so this will really help pull the what the hell is going on feeling of this model together. With the goat face being this bronzed, we talk about this skin color that we're going to do is going to be like bronze beach body kind of skin color, like the perfect, not too pale, not too tan kind of thing going on. I think we'll go ahead and bring it up this kind of alien shell on the back of the head too. We'll probably do all the horns. Because I can't tell if those are actual. Yeah, they are. Go ahead and get the horn parts as well. Not all of them. Like this looks like crown, but those are definitely horns on the low one. The way they attach the head and such. These on the back sort of look like horns now too. Like they have just kind of these front facades on them of armor. But on the back, they seem to be pretty well normal horns. Well, as normal as, you know, big goat demon gets. Again, we're probably hitting areas that don't need color, but always easier and quicker when you're doing your airbrush work to go ahead and hit it anyway, right? Even if you're not sure. Go ahead and put a little color on it. That way you don't have to come back later after you're done with the airbrush, let's say, and then, you know, have to figure out how to make it all look the same. I'm all right with that. I'm all right with that. All right, so just one quick pass, make sure we got everything we want to be skin-ish color with skin-ish color on it. I think we're good. Looks good to me. Not for government work. Stand up, man. I put the bigger base on you for crying out loud. What the? Hey, Mom, this is Demon Lord. It's perfectly normal. It's perfectly normal. that I haven't explored the other colors and only unexplored purple. Orc Pride, are you messing with my words again? Are you just trying to make me feel bad? I'm trying to do the right thing here, and you're just pushing the narrative beyond. Yori, things are great, man. Not gonna lie, things are great. Tiring, but great. No complaints. Other than I haven't gone out for good Mexican food in a while. That's not Mexican food, honey. It's Asian Mexican. Yes. It's still good. We could do that. It's a long drive. She's over there. But it's worth it. We have a Chino Bandito. It's a fusion restaurant, but not fusion as in hipster fusion. It's like a dive bar, right? You go in and it's Asian Mexican food. You can get like like hot Asian style chicken in a burrito with black beans and rice and Mexican seasonings. It's some of the most amazing stuff on the planet. Like, I'm not gonna lie. It's really good, man. All right, so now what do I want to do here? I think I want to do... I think I want to do the shadow flesh first, and then I'm going to come back at it with purples and greens. Normally I would put the purples and greens in right now, but I'm going to do the shadow flesh layer first. You got two big cats that are chasing a fly. Hey! Probably the most fun they've had all week. All right, so some shadow flesh in here, just like 3 drops, not a ton. Don't need a whole lot. And again, we're going to thin this way down so we can build it up in layers. I don't want, at this point, because of how we do flesh, even with the airbrush, we want to make sure that we're allowing the colors beneath the one that you're using right now to show through. And even though we only really have black and brown right now, we still want to make sure that we don't overtake those too much. If you don't thin your paint down, if you go in with too opaque of a coat at this point, then your previous layer can get shadowed real quick. Like, you just lose all of it. All right. Now, I want to at least start with kind of a top-down view. This is where we start painting as if the airbrush is the light source, right? So I'm going to be aiming at it from here. I'm not doing any custom lighting on this. Again, this is just kind of outdoor at, 10 or 2 is kind of the thing. But notice how I'm going very thin, kind of just spritzing some color on, always from this top-down angle. Right. By doing it that top-down way, right, I get these pre-built-in shadows. So my skin starts looking really good just straight off the bat. I don't have to work super, super hard at it, right? Because the airbrush is going to take care of that nice fade for us. Right, a little bit. And I start getting that nice black, that dark brown, right? Exactly where I need it. Since we're going with a brighter flesh tone, I can be a little bit more aggressive with this. And because I'm going to be going back over the top of this with the purples and the greens, and then we may even come back with this color again, right? We're not set on anything. I'm not attacking this with, okay, here's the process we're going to use. We're just kind of having fun, right? So go ahead and keep brightening it up. Already we get a really, really good looking skin. Get a little bit down in the thigh area since this is still one of our darker colors. We just get a peak of color in between those armor panels is all we're going to really get. There's not a whole lot to see there. We just want to make sure that we're not ignoring it. Because as soon as we do armor color around here, darker armor color, brighter, then that brown in the thigh area will show through. And so we gotta give it at least a little bit of attention. We're never gonna be able to get, because we built it first, we're never gonna be able to get a ton of transition or color down in there. Still using that top down. Because I'm not getting any color up into like the underarm area, I am going to do a little bit of feathering of this color. I'm not going to use near as much, but I am going to get it into the shadows, force a little bit back there so I don't have a racing stripe of where it's coming down this way and then it just cuts off, right? If I spray a little bit back there, now you can't tell where the brown stops and the other color starts. I get that blend. Up here, it's not as big a deal because they're little small ridges of muscle. So if we get like, the blend of the airbrush and then brown, it actually does what we want it to do and gives us the muscle definition. Make sure we don't have to like wash shadow back over the model. We have all our shadow where we need it. But back here, you get a line because it shelves off on the arm and then goes back for a distance, and you'd have way too much darkness if you didn't push a little color back in there. But you still get a good natural shadow. Same thing with this bicep over here, just force a little more color into that area between the armor panels. Same thing on these fingers and the palm of the hand. And then again, back here, you can see the underside of the arm looks like, okay, color, and especially because you have that vein along the side of the model, and then right after that vein, it's just dark, right? And that's not very natural. So we just want to feather enough color. Maybe you'd bring, like I'm doing right now, bring the gun back a little bit from the model. Now I'm about 8 to 10 inches away, as opposed to right up at like, 3, 4 inches away like I normally paint. And then feather that so that now you don't get that hard shelf of color from dark brown or whatever. You're just barely pushing color in, but it gives it a nice blend. Now you can see how we drop down after that vein. The vein's still brighter, but now I get color around the bottom. Pretty good. And same with all this sinewy, torn flesh, like flayed flesh area on the back. I'm not concerned with overspray. Don't care about all the other areas. We're going to go in with a brush and clean all that up. Much easier if I can just kind of be relaxed with the airbrush at this point. Just focus on catching those top areas of all this stringy flesh on his back. Because this is not our brightest flesh color, I am getting these areas even where the armor is shadowing that shoulder there. Still pushing some color in there. Remember how he said we wanted a little bit of flesh color out here on the arms, even though we know we're going to transition to a different color through all this chitin, sinewy nonsense. We're going to go ahead and post up a little bit of color there. His butt. We know we can't see a lot of this area right here where I'm painting, but we still want to make sure we throw paint at it so that we can get our fade correct, so that when you do see it from underneath, get the right amount of color on the inner thigh down here. Right. We want that color to fade around into the shadows properly. That's pretty good. I like it, I like it. And I'm just playing on the outside of the arms here. I don't really know what we're going to be doing, but I don't want to be caught later on with, like, if we decide to fade this out into a weird color like jade or even red or anything like that, that I don't have any of that flesh to play with to let show through the color that we choose for this. So I just kind of throw some color on the appendages for now. I don't have to be as exact with it as with some of the other areas. Both those lower ankle areas, I kind of like them being the normal skin color. So maybe we don't go to another color on the feet. Keep those kind of a fleshy brown hoof kind of feel. I like that better, I think. Push some more paint up around the shoulders. So looks pretty good. And you can see kind of how thin, hopefully, I'm painting. Right, I've got the paint thinned down probably half thinner, half paint, so that I get this very translucent coloring that goes on. Good Nur on there. That's pretty good. There we go. Grab his hand. Booty color. Everybody got to have it. Got to have good coloring on your butt. Just a requirement, right? If you're ever staring at your butt in a mirror and it starts kind of being gray and all that, probably means zombie apocalypse on the way. Go see a doctor. Well, maybe not go see the doctor. I feel like that by that point you're probably too far gone. So just kind of, deal with it as best you can. And we're feathering a little color on the underside of the hand, underside of the fingers, but focusing mainly on the top areas as you would assume. Yeah, I know, he said like 2 minutes ago. He's talking about you, Kev Rob. She's like, no, it hadn't shipped. He just put his order in. He's on to you, boy. He says you're not getting yours shipped until sometime in September. That was her response, Kev Rob. He said some choice words before that, and then something about September. Effie's lucky, I think, came through. I think that's what I'm hearing. She's still chattering back there, but. Here we get those ears, and again, just put a little bit of color on this neckline thing just because I don't know what I'm going to be able to see once it all goes together. A little bit of cheek showing there, so we'll nab that. Another layer to the forehead. Easy peasy. Again, notice how I'm always starting and firing at these things from the top, right? So, sorry, I've got stuff all over the desk, so I'm probably doing a really horrible job of staying in focus here. So I'm always shooting. Sometimes I'll turn the model like this to where, rather than, we're so used to painting, looking at the model the way it's going to be, right? But the problem is now if you paint it like this, you're putting paint into the shadows, right? So I'm always going to rotate it, pretending that I am the light source. I am the sun, right? I'm always guaranteed that I'm keeping my shadows in line because the paint just can't physically get to the dark spots. I'm going in the wrong direction. I'm driving the wrong way down this one-way street, right? I guess technically I'm going the right way. Again, I don't really know what I'm doing with all this scaly back of head stuff, so I'm just going to throw skin color at it right now. We might change that. But whatever we change it to, we know that because it grows out of the skin, having that skin color there is never a bad thing. So if we decide to do like a green or whatever color we decide on, it'll still work. Again, because the chin, notice how we get that racing stripe of dark on the chin. It goes light and then you just get dark. We're going to blend a little color in there real quick. Like so. That way we lose that racing stripe. We don't want any areas where we miss out entirely on this color. Then we go back top down. That's pretty good. Again, always doing that kind of what we call worm's eye, bird's eye look at your model. Take each piece and look at it from the bottom, right? And make sure you're seeing more darkness than bright, and then from the top, more bright than dark. That's how you know you're really getting your values seated correctly. All of your volumes are going to show up right. Stuff's going to look like it's supposed to look, is the gist. KO Doki. Lay him like that. Same thing with the main model, right? Pick it up, turn it from worm's eye view, and you can see that most of what you're looking at has that darker brown showing, and there's just a halo of the light skin color around it where it blends around the curves. And then from the top down, the exact opposite. You get all the bright skin tone, and you just get a halo of darkness as muscles go into, folds or shadowed areas, underarms, the palm going off the side, right? Always a good way to check whether you're brush painting or airbrush painting. Once you get a color down, turn the model, look at it, make sure you put it where it needs to go. Because I am painting so thin, I always want to make sure I'm going back and getting color built up the right way. Sometimes if you just go one layer and you're going super, super thin, you might find that you're unhappy with the way the color looks as it starts to dry. Dry a little dark. I'll just go back and brighten it up a bit here. Bingo. That's layer 2. Now we'll throw some purples and some greens at it to give it some undertones. We don't want to get too crazy, right? Because again, we're going for, almost too perfect skin. As a matter of fact, if we were doing this for, real like deep storytelling kind of capability, we would probably stay away from too many underpainted colors. We wouldn't want it to look too much like real skin. You almost want it to look fake on this guy. Like he's just trying to impress you. But look, I'm just like you. More purple, right? I know. I lied. I can't stay away from it. I keep coming back. Can you get a kitten doodle? You're asking the wrong people, right? If you're having this conversation with me, you're already incorrect in the entire engagement, right? What if the demon smacks the airbrush out of your hand and is like, no, you paint me by hand so you can suffer? Well, that would be very disturbing and awesome all at the same time. I've never had a model come to life on the table. I'm not saying I'd be against it. I'm just saying that, the situation I guess it would kind of dictate my overall feelings. I would have to really pay attention to what was going on in my life at that time, how I would react. Okay, so some purple. Some purple. We're just going to grab dark purple. Really easy in this world. We're just going to grab some dark purple. We are going to throw it into some of the shadows. Actually, we're going to do one step better. We're going to grab some purple transparent because I get to use transparent paints. Let's grab some purple transparent paint. Run it through the airbrush. The brusha. Guess we ought to think about this for a second. Is purple what we want to use? I think so. Did we really we didn't really like nail down an armor color that we want to do. Somebody had mentioned blue, right? And I'm not opposed to blue armor. And the purple would kind of bring it together with the blue, so that's not a bad idea. So okay. I'm convincing myself here. Are we doing blue armor? Is that the gig? Is that the gig? Blue? I guess I'm curious, like on these like armor panels where we have skulls growing out of them, if we do that in blue, is the skull then going to be blue as well? I guess that could be really cool, actually, huh? Like just a real crazy blue with maybe moving into greens. That could be kind of neat. Well, we're not going to use metallic, I don't think. I'm still up in the air as to whether or not I'm going to use metallic paints on this. I kind of want to do non-metallic, so we'll see. But I'm going to do transparent purple on this. So to answer our current question, we're going to do transparent purple. So put about 3 drops of trans purple in there. If you have not seen our transparent paints, they are the bestest things ever made in the history of ever. You can thin them down. I'm going to put some flow improver in here to thin this purple way down. They are just acrylic paints. They're not inks, even though they look a lot like inks. They aren't washes, even though they act a lot like washes in some cases, but they're just plain amazing. Mini Painter Jade, what's going on? What about jade? Well, we're going to... So the idea yesterday was that the skin at the appendages goes to jade, right? You're asking, could we do jade armor? We could definitely do jade armor, and that's actually a very good idea, if I do say so myself. I kind of like the jade armor idea better. We could do like dark blue into jade, right? I'm really digging that right now. It's such a good color. Jen believes she created it. She's a liar. She used dark gray blue and mixed it with jade. But with our new dark blue and mixing it with jade, like the quills that I'm doing on the top of the trolls. Yeah. Yeah.
It's jade and dark.
Yeah. I'd already done my trolls by the time you did that.
No,
Shoot.
I know, but you're talking about this new one.
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah.
So we've kind of fallen in love around here, is the point, with doing the dark blue and then mixing the jade and blending up out of jade. And, you know, I'm doing it very naturally in smooth blends here. If we did that with more contrast, I think we could get kind of a really cool metallic color out of that. That might be a neat deal. I think that changes my whole perspective on it. Then we have to figure out, okay, then what does the chitin color become? Like, what do we do on these claws and stuff on his body, right? So we got to think about that. So be thinking about what you think on that stuff, right? So right now we're going to start doing the transparent. Hopefully you can see the difference in our transparent paints, right? Right out of the gate. That's pretty intense, but I'm going to go with it, right? So right now what we're going to do is now, instead of painting from the top side like I'm our light source, now I'm painting from the bottom. This is just pure shadow, and I'm going to get in close, probably about an inch, maybe a half an inch away. Right? I'm going to get in here and get all these areas like the bottom side of those pecs, right? And then in between the abs. Now I'm about 1/4 of an inch away. Everywhere where I've got a shadow that was left from my previous work, I'm just building up slowly with my paint, very, very close in. So I'm basically drawing like pen lines, right? That's Kev Rob's bag right there. Oh, she's taunting you. She's taunting you now. And get this line right up the middle of his abdomen as well. Right, you can see what a big effect that has, like just right out of the gates. Right. So basically anywhere where I've got that shadow left, just come in and I'm barely feathering the trigger, right? But I'm getting a good amount of purple buildup and a very tight line so it doesn't overtake any of my other colors, or that I keep my overspray as minimal as possible, right? Now this is going to be a little harder in the gut area because of this belly plate, but we'll get it. Angle it up in there. Line. Right in there. Again, I got to get in super, super close to the model. Generally, I'm looking at about a 1/2 inch to a 1/4 inch away. Depends on the model, what I can get done. Get the side of this pec real quick. Blend that up over the top edge, just real lightly. Feather that. Start building up a really nice shadow. Again, I'm going to get this, again, right? All I'm looking for is the areas that are dark from the angle that I used when I airbrushed all my other colors. So it's cheating, right? I've created a cheat sheet in the method that I use to paint. So I can kind of brainlessly do this and focus more on the, oh God, I'm drawing a really, really tiny purple line. I think my needle's getting a little, yeah, my needle's got some clogged paint on it. Jade for the shadow color of the skin tone. Yeah, I think if we were gonna do that and move to like a jade on the appendages, that would be good. I think if we're gonna do jade armor, that I like the idea of purple here. And I don't know. I mean, maybe the appendages go to a really dark. I don't want to do purple, man. Here we are, right back here. I'm gonna get this shadow on this part of the rib right in here, and then again back up underneath the pec a little bit. Look pretty good. Belly button a little bit if I can. Shadow in that belly button area. Up in here, right? These pieces of armor kind of come out of the armor and grow into the flesh almost. They don't really grow in like some of the other models do, but we still want to get some purple up in there for shading. Down in here. Same thing. Now the pinch of the underarm here coming up into the shoulder muscle I got to get. So we've got this shadow that's been formed naturally from the way we've painted, and I'm just going to have to draw that line, that little line right there. Notice how I'm already moving the brush so I don't get paint to pool before paint is even hitting the area where I want it, and then I just kind of feather it up as we go. And then underneath the arm here, and push a little bit more color up underneath there. Shadow of the muscle on the forearm. And I'm just looking at all the areas that my dark brown was showing through from that first interaction with the shadow flesh and such, and using that as a guideline. Bring the purple along the dimension of that bicep a little bit. Right. I pull it out from the inside of the arm and just kind of trail it off as it comes around, so we give it that kind of ovoid shading effect. Looks pretty good. I'm not going to worry about these little cuts and scarification areas. I'll do those with the brush later. The transparent paint is fantastic for this because it is forgiving. So if you're scared of doing this kind of up close work with your airbrush, this will give you a way to kind of learn to get used to that. Because the transparent, if you do get a little bit that bleeds out on another area, it doesn't overtake it horribly. Back up in those shadows there. See how this is starting to come together. I'm really digging the shading that it gives. Purple, definitely the right choice, even though we said we didn't want to use a lot of purple. I'm a lying liar. I'm not only the CEO of the Lying Liars Club, I'm also a customer. And now when we do the worm's eye view, everything gone purple. And the purple is only the color that we're looking at because of the way it's interacting with the dark brown. So don't think that the dark brown was not necessary, right? We're getting a lot of interaction there that is maybe not as super intuitive right at first. Pour some purple into this pinch of the arm, inside the armor. It's going to be hard for you guys. Oh, you can see it there. Just going right a little bit in that corner, but not overtaking that skin tone there. Then back here a little bit. Got to get in those thighs. Get in them thighs. Oh, that's going to be a pain in the butt right there. All right, so this may go horribly wrong. We're going to see if we can make this happen. Not too shabby. Too shabby. Getting a little purple in the thigh there. Not exactly the easiest thing in the world to achieve because of the angle that we've got here. Pretty good. Bottom of the forearm here. Coming out of the wrist, back up into that shadow. Starting to look really good. The underside of these fingers. Again, everywhere we have shadow. This is not something where you're like, what exactly does this shadow represent? It represents shadow. We're just going for the color of darkness on the model. What does it equal? You know, and we get a little life when we go into things like purples, greens, blues, as opposed to just having it be standard flesh color. It gets a little fake looking because skin doesn't have that one-dimensional coloring, right? It's not just dark brown, mid-brown, light brown. In those real fine areas, right? Just pulling that line right there. I'm using a 0.3 needle for anybody that's wondering. Don't know if it's been asked in chat. Sorry, I'm paying horrible attention to chat. Carol at Painty Skin Tone, so you try to get me to try all my crazy ideas. Yeah, I don't know. The blue with jade chitin, I think, might be, maybe we reverse those. Maybe the jade armor and bluish, you know, dark blue, black kind of chitin, I think could work better in my head at least. But I like the colors that you guys are coming up with. I'm just thinking the jade armor would work better. It would definitely, I think, be a little bit better for going into like the gold trim and stuff. I like the blue less than I do the jade with the gold trim. The idea of it, at least, right? All right, so let's get in close and do the lines in between the fingers. Get rid of the itch on my nose. Not bad. A little bit at these knuckles. Sorry, yeah. Knuckle line there. Palm, gotta get into the palm. I can't get super close here, so I'm just gonna have to wing it. See, I gotta get the palm area a little bit. Not shabby. Not too shabby. Yeah, he's got a ring. That ring is a pain in my butt, right? It's like right where makes it very difficult to get some of these areas painted. Get this part of the muscle right there where it's got that dark brown showing through. I gotta find a way to get in there without. There we go. Ah. Kind of lightly feather that up into the skin tone. Pretty well. Pinch at the collarbone. A little shadow coming. I'm getting really detailed now, and a bunch of this might get, wasted away. This little detail at the collarbone, kind of dimple there, may not actually stick through the next layers of skin tone, but we'll see. And all of this, I think we're just going to kind of get the underneath. Like, again, just kind of painting up at it. A lot of this is going to get done with a brush, right? So I'm going to be a little bit more kind of sporadic with the purple here. So I get just a good kind of fundamental layering of color here so I can come back with a brush and know that I'm dealing with all the right colors. So this is just a lesson in painting from the ground where your shadow is. Let the model block so you know you're not getting any of your highlight colors swamped in purple because you can't hit them from here. All right, so I still get good coloration from here, but from down here it's all purple. Right. Here, butt crack. Always paint the butt crack. It's purple butt crack. But grabbing the shadows. Really liking this. Transparents make this job so easy. It's not even funny. Right. There we start to get that shading showing up really nice. Other elbow over here. See, hopefully, getting close, just how well that transparent works, right? Look at that blending, how I get that really deep purple, and then as it starts working out on top of the skin, I start getting that nice blended magenta. Oh, probably need a little bit more right in there, right? So, transparent is just too good. Very easy to control out of the airbrush. I mean, I'm doing very close-in detail work here, but it's being very, very easy to control. It's not giving me any hassles at all. You can see it's not sputtering. It's not giving me any blurts where I don't want it. I'm being able to trace these really thin lines. And just look how well it alters the coloration on that without looking like you sprayed a line of purple, right? It starts blending in really, really good with everything. Just look at all this shadow up on this arm, how perfect that is. There's not a stop-start spot there, and there's no spattering. You know, with the airbrush, there's no dots. Real smooth texture from it. I mean, you can see that even our regular paints, right? Like just the skin tone looks like it was brush painted. It doesn't look like it was airbrushed. Starting to look good. Barely any paint on it. Already looking good. All right, let's do these heads. Heads and hands. Still got lots of paint in here. Clear my needle real quick. Because this is just acrylic paint, remember that it will still dry on your needle. It'll still do all the things through an airbrush that a normal paint will. So again, start from the angle of shadows here. Get in tight. Get that chin area. Line under the jaw real quick. Bring that up a little bit further onto the jaw. Just lightly feathering it up to the sides of the chin. Barely any paint, and notice how fast I'm jiggling the airbrush so that it feathers it in a very small area right as I'm coming across the curvature of that chin. What's that?
I have red bag.
Uh-oh, she got a red bag. That's a lie. The red is a lie. Don't trust anything Jen says. Get those eye sockets so I can get the underneath of the brow line. Get up underneath his nose too. Now this is going to be really tight the way his nose is pinched to his face and sewn. I'm going to get like literally right on the model here. So I can just get that nostril area without pushing too much paint up the rest of the nose. Got to get his laugh lines. Faces are very, very detailed, very, very small. Hi, Jen. Underside of the cheeks. Carry that down through these weird Joker smile lines. Then I want to get the pinch of the where it's all sewn together up here too. And the little triangular dimple areas, or not dimple areas, but area here where it goes from the brow line back into the hairline. I think I'm going to leave the middle line alone. It's too fine. I'm going to wind up blurring out. There's not enough space to work with there, so that's good enough for his face. He's a good-looking dude.
You know, I think the queen deserves a better-looking dude, though.
What's that?
I feel like the queen deserves a better-looking dude.
Yeah.
He's not that good-looking.
Good gosh.
It's a little scary.
Have you seen the queen?
I am not painting a king.
Yeah, where's yours at?
Still in the box.
Still in the box. I think, yeah, I think she's got to do quite a bit more with the how do I build a model part first, because this was a pain in the butt. This was not a beginner model to put together.
You're doing both?
Yeah, I've magnetized them. I figured since we're doing this studio model, I might as well. I've noticed a bunch of people online having a very big reaction one way or the other.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to paint the one that, you know, people are like, oh, you chose the head I don't like, you know.
Joker wanted you to read.
Yeah, that would have been bitching.
That could be cool.
That actually would have been really cool.
This one better.
This is my favorite.
Yeah.
The goat one is my favorite. So I'm, again, for those of you maybe just joining us or have tuned in and out, lurking in the background, I'm painting about 1/4 of an inch away from the model, maybe 1/8 inch away from the model, basically almost banging the needle up against the surface here so I can get very, very fine detail lines. About 1 o'clock.
Sorry.
Yeah, I have to turn it off, otherwise
People are
the
being
air
charged, I
conditioner is just brutal.
Yeah. Oh, he definitely did not build two.
Like on the other head, I'm going to exaggerate my shadows a little bit because remember, we're going to come back after this with more skin tone. So once I get them lined in, I'll feather them out, make them a little bit bigger than they would normally want to be. If I were doing these as final shadows, I wouldn't make that purple quite as broad on these smaller dimples in the muscles on the neck. But because we've got more skin tone coming in over the top of this, we have to kind of accentuate it, exaggerate it, whatever you will, so that it'll... What are you going to be working on, babe?
Huh?
What are you going to be working on?
I'm going to just highlight these little guys a little bit.
Your little dudes?
Yeah.
Nice. Switch over so you guys can see what she's doing once we get this purple on here.
You don't have to. Little detail-y things on these. Highlight passion.
Ah! Blowing it right out of my fingers. That's the problem with, see? I'm afraid to put a lot of pressure on it because I got this, like, the spindly bits at the top, but I'm up close enough that it's trying to spray into this area here. All the air catches the bottom of the chin and really just wants to yank it right out of my fingers. Inch of the brow. Got this really good scowl line set up here, but it's really, really fine wrinkles in that scowl. I'm going to see what I can do here, but I think I'm only going to really be able to layer the area with purple, yeah. And then when we come back over it with the next skin tone, hopefully if we can angle that aggressively enough, then some of that purple will stay in those scowl lines. It's very fine in the sculpt, so it may not work at all. It may be that those have to be done with a brush, but since we're here and we got the color, we go ahead and try it anyway, right? pretty good. Bingo. Hand. Then I think we can be done with the purple. A little aggressive on that one finger. Hey, drummer, what's going on? Welcome, welcome. Hope everybody's enjoying their weekend. Kicking off, watching paint dry with us. We're doing some crazy in-close airbrushing right now, as you can see. And a lot of people ask, like, why do you even take the time with the airbrush at this point? Right? Because these are underpainted details, right? We're doing these fine lines of purple to give us shading, but we're going to come back over the top of this with more skin tone through the airbrush, and so we don't want to, I don't like stopping right now to take the time to go through all of this work with a brush, only to cover 90% of what we're doing right now up, right? Like, this is actually going very, very fast, considering the fact we're doing it live on stream. And most of this purple gets covered up when we get the next skin tone. We'll drive all this into the finer shadow locations. That's why you'll see me going a little heavy, bringing it up further into the skin colors every now and then, because the next color will push it all back, right? Because this next skin tone that we do will come from the top, whereas we're shooting the purple from the bottom. See, all purple, mostly skin tone. So we got to kind of overdo it, and the airbrush gives us just a really good way to feather all that. You get some really good coloration at the same time. So that becomes our shadow color, right? That purple over that dark brown reads in, and it'll be a really, really good shadow. And again, our worm's eye view, all we see is the dark purple. Our bird's eye view, much less of the purple and much more of just the skin tones. We know we're doing it right, and we're good. We can clean this stuff out. The real painter is on, right? She was busy. She has to do everything here. I just back clean up. Light and passion, you're so mean to me. You're very rude. Yeah, I can't, for like box art, doing the studio painted models, I don't really ever think in terms of altering the model. You know, the King of Ruin that we're doing for our studio videos on the transparent paints, I altered it just for fun, because it's not one that's going to be, I mean, it'll be in the videos and it'll cause some questions. People be like, mine doesn't look like that. What's the matter with that model? How did that? I want that. That's cool. And that was kind of what I was going for, right? Just to jazz it up a little bit, so it wasn't the same old, same old. It's just little changes, but just having some fun. On one where it's the one that people purchase from, obviously I'm not going to do any big alterations to the model, because then people will be pissed off. How come mine didn't have two heads? How come mine didn't have that weird conversion that was the one on the pictures? We could sneak some fun stuff in, since I doubt Peter's sitting here watching, although he might be. We could sneak in a gold tooth or something like that.
I don't think he would like that.
Huh?
I don't think he would like that. Just a feeling. Just a hunch.
Oh, you can see how highly saturated our transparent paints are, even though they're transparent, right? Takes a while to get them out of the airbrush. The purple and the green especially. That's all right. Oh, stretch. Take a drink. A purple tooth. The Robertson. Jen never really joined. Jen's never been on our whip day, right? She has always done Tuesdays and Fridays. So.
Just in chat on Thursdays.
Yeah, Jen doesn't normally join us on the old Wednesday, the new Thursday. She doesn't. She's never been there, unless it was like a special occasion. All right, so next skin color. I think we just go with tan flesh. Right? Tan flesh, or maybe we mix. I think we're going to do a mix of tan flesh and shadow flesh, actually. Then we're going to knock the model over, because it seems like that's what you do.
No, it doesn't sound like a good idea.
The question is, do I want to do any green? Right? Do I want to do any green? I feel like the answer is yes. I feel like I want to do some of the transparent green top down. Yeah, I think we're going to. Let's pull out all the stops. Let's do it. We're going to take some of our green, brown, black mix of the transparents that we've been loving so much. We're going to do that. I don't know how many drops that was. That bottle's different. A lot. What we're going to do with this is we're going to blend the area between the purple. We're going to thin this way down. We're going to blend the area between the purple and the skin tone with it, right? So this is something that will join the base of shadow flesh that we have to the purple. And the green is a color that, you know, you don't think about a lot, but it's in your skin. If you just look at your skin, you've got a greenish tone to your skin around, you know, veins and things like that. And as long as you're not painting too aggressively with green, it still makes skin look like healthy, real skin. If you go too overboard, obviously you get into dead, Nurgle, zombie, gross flesh real quick. Right, so this color is what we're going with, right? And we're just going to do just like that. We're going to take this green and we're going to build it up right along the purple and then feather it out into the skin like that. Right. And I'm going to get in real close. We're just going to go over those lines. Now we're painting directly on the top surface. I'm not really aiming at the shadows necessarily.
Bill Robertson, so is Jason. Don't feel bad. Still, one more name wants to know if there are any plans to do anything sci-fi in the future.
October's model is sci-fi. Look at you asking relevant questions. If you were here yesterday, we talked about that. We were like, hey, our first sci-fi model. So yeah, good timing. October's model is our first sci-fi model. I think a lot of people are going to be super excited about it as well. So you seeing some of that green? This may be too faint. This may all get overshadowed, but we're going to go for it anyway. I'm going to probably come back and spice it up as we go. I've made this pretty thin because it's not a color I want to be, you know, super loud with. But I do want to make sure that it shows up through the the next layer of flesh. So I gotta kind of ride that fine line of how vibrant to make this green right now. Since I'm building it up from the purples onto the skin tones, though, I can play with it a little bit. And use the angle of the next color to really control how much stays and shows through. Again, I'm really just focused on the area where the purple meets the skin. You're seeing more of it if I hold it like that. Yeah, now you can see that green kind of clawing out of the purple, but then go into the skin tone. Shoulder there.
So one more name, I don't know what that is, but I don't think that's what it's
What do you ask?
Said, and no hints as to what it's going to be. Cough, void dragon, cough. And I said, I don't know what a void dragon is, so I kind of don't think that's what the model is. But I could be wrong because I don't know what a void dragon is.
Well, I mean, I told you what month it comes out in. That's the biggest clue you get, right?
October.
Probably doesn't matter near as much out here on the arms because we're going to alter all this coloration anyway. But we're going to go ahead and hit it in. Same thing in here because all of this sinewy flesh is all going to be done with the brush. So I don't think we need to be as worried about all this, but I'm going to go ahead and give it a liberal dousing of the green. Because of the nature of our transparents, when you thin them way down, right, you're seeing how non-aggressive this green is compared to the purple that I used. The purple I didn't thin near as much as this. I can still keep building up to more and more of this green if I want. It dries really quick, and then I can come back in and start layering more, like along this butt cheek area, right? And you'll start seeing more and more of that green show up. Again, I'm trying to ride a fine line between like too bruised feeling. So I start thin like this to avoid that too much green popping through my next skin tone. Because if you put too much of their underpaint color, you want to have enough that it shows through, right? But if you put too much, then all of a sudden you're in a position where, oh my God, when I put my skin tone on the top of it, you know, my skin tone looked like a big bruise. And then you have to put more of your skin tone than you really want. You got to be careful with that.
Yeah, I think we've said what it is, right?
Huh?
I think we've said that what the October model is, haven't we? At some point?
I can't hear you.
I think we've said what the October model is at some point, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an orc.
Yeah.
It's Orktober.
No big secret. The secret is what it actually looks like.
Yeah.
That's the cool
You
part.
haven't seen it. So we're not giving away the whole spiel. But yeah, October is Orktober, right? And so we got an orc. First sci-fi model. And it's an orc. And any of our orc fans, everybody's going to be in love with it, I think. But all of our orc fans are going to be Super stoked. All right, that was pretty quick, easy.
I bet
There's
it
some
does,
green on
Doga.
there. Again,
gonna
I'm not
look
gonna
very
I'm not gonna
orky.
go too bright with it. If it all goes away when we spray the next skin tone, that's fine too. On the heads, I'm basically covering the entire head with the green mix.
Oh, hey, Bill Robertson, I remembered to combine your orders. And I think I mailed them today.
That hand. Where's that hand? Same thing, I'm just going to cover the whole hand. These small areas don't have enough worry about it. We'll just cover everything with the green, and then we'll be very directional with our spray when doing the skin tone on top of this.
But I don't get upset about two, so it's okay.
Notice how that green just gives us kind of a sickly skin. I mean, you could actually use this, right? We've done this with like the King of Ruin, and we've done a humanish skin tone, and then over the top of it do the purples and the greens to actually give you the color that you want, right? If you were going for more of a deadish flesh, right, you could be doing this kind of a workup and leave it, like this. You could be more aggressive with the greens, and then just kind of leave it like this. You'd want to work a little harder to feather it all out and get it to all blend a little bit better, but all right. And out. You've already told the orc player. The one orc player you know? Is that how that works? Everybody knows one. There's one in every group. How big will it be? It's a new scale for us. It is between the matriarchs and the lords and ladies. So, new size. I wouldn't say new scale. It fits the scale of our other creatures, right? In our narrative, you've got the matriarchs, which are the 40 mil base, standard kind of champion size models, and then you've got lords and ladies that are the greater sizes, and then the kings and queens, which are monstrosities like what we're painting here, right? 7.5, 8 inches, 9 inches tall with wings and craziness. The orc is in between the matriarch, which is the champion level. So he'll be like 2 sizes bigger than foot troops, but he will not be lord and lady size, technically. think he's on a little smaller base too. Can't remember what the base size is for him. He's got a lot going on. Really, really good sculpt. Really, really awesome. I think people will really enjoy our take on orcs. They are not like orcs that you are familiar with seeing in our gaming world. Ugh. No, it's Jen with 2 F's. Jennifer.
Jen with 2 F's would be Jeff.
Your name's Jeff?
No, it's not.
Oh. You've been lying to me?
No, I haven't. You've been calling me by the right name. You just gave wrong information.
Oh. Gotcha. Tommy Lee, what's happening? All right, so now we go through with the mix that we were going to do before, which is tan flesh and shadow flesh. So we've done the shadow flesh already. That's the skin that's on there right now. We did dark umber and then shadow flesh. Then over the top of the shadow flesh, we've been doing the purple transparent and the green transparent now. And now we're going to mix tan flesh and shadow flesh to, get an interim skin tone.
It could be Jenf. That's a little tough to say.
I'll do 3 drops of each for a pseudo 50-50 blend. Again, we want this to be thinner even more so than our last skin tone because we're going to shoot for having some of that purple and green show through. So I'm probably, 60% thinner to paint. Something like that is my goal. 60 to 70% thinner. My desk is a mess over here.
Well, it's a good thing that we're tearing it all apart this weekend and moving it.
Yeah, that's true. My desk is a freaking wreck. I can't get anything to happen over here. What's going on?
Did you guys hear? We're moving.
Well, we're moving the studio into the other room. We're not moving.
Into there.
We just moved here. We're not moving again. Office is staying in the same place.
Yes.
We're just moving the...
We're just switching. That room got too full all of a sudden.
Yeah.
It's like, just this week.
1,000 cubic feet of bags show up, and all of a sudden we've got to rethink our entire strategy here, right?
Okay.
All right, that looks pretty good.
You know what, Doga, I'm going to wait just a second until the air goes off so that he can hear me.
I can't hear when she's talking because it's out of my bad ear. When the air is on, it has the right frequency to make me deaf.
So it'll be much quieter in there too when we move.
Yeah, the AC it's cool in that room, but the AC doesn't have a direct
nice
duct
and cool,
in there.
But the AC is not right above us like it is here.
Again, we're going to paint. Now we're going to start really approaching from the light source aspect, so we're painting straight down, right? And watch as the purples retreat, right? So see the purple extension into the abdomen area. Watch as I start shooting this brighter color of flesh. And watch how that purple will start to just smooth out. From those top areas, right? So now it retreats back down into just the shadows, but I still get all my colors. And I've mixed this skin tone, I think, perfectly to have a little bit of that green showing through. Yep. So the green is gonna come through, I think, perfectly on this guy.
No, we're not really moving. We're just moving these desks right here into that room through that door. And then we're going to take everything in there and we're going to put it where these desks are. That's it.
We're not moving.
So no, we did not get bought by
organizing.
Asmodee.
We're redecorating.
Asmodee. Like everyone else. I don't even know what that means. Free bags, no. Why would we give away free bags?
Why would we give away a free bag?
Why?
For moving the
To
office?
get rid of them, probably.
Are you coming and moving the office
we're
for
not,
us?
We're not complaining about it. We just need to rearrange a little bit.
Did you just offer to come and do this for us?
It would be a good exercise if we did that every month, but no.
So still keeping this very steep angle.
Seriously, that's it? Yeah, come on over.
What's that?
So one more name said, I'll come help you move for a free go bag. Like, pfft, that's easy.
That's a long haul for a free go bag.
I
But we'd
did
love to
Boneyard.
have you. I mean, we'd love to have you, not gonna
I
lie.
know, that's a lot. That's a big offer for something that, how much are they, $59?
Plus, he's fun to hang out with, so.
I know. Seems like definitely a better deal for us.
Yeah, definitely a better deal for
For
us. We
you.
get to hang out with cool people. The move becomes easier instantaneously.
Boneyard purple and green, but I did write it on your paper.
The top of his butt cheeks don't show, so I'm not really worried about it.
But he might be worried about it.
Hey, you know, he
could
doesn't
be
get a choice.
self-conscious about his butt cheeks.
He doesn't get a choice. That's
might
not how
want
this
them to
works.
look
This is
just
not a
as good
freaking
as
democracy.
everything
This is
else.
not a you get to vote. You don't get a voice here as a model. You know what would happen if we let all the models have a voice?
Gesture of Dark, that wasn't the offer. If you go up a couple places in the chat there, all it says is a free go bag. That's it. It mentions nothing about food.
We thought he was going to buy food. That's why we got excited. He likes good food places.
Oh, you just said he's also sure there may be free food. Where's this free food coming from?
It's changing the deal. You're changing the deal. This contract just got worse for us. I'm not really sure I understand what's going on here. Right? It looks like there's a big bright spot like on his butt here, but it's only because there's that cleft in it, that cutout for the drape to sit in.
From the free food market. I haven't found one of those yet. I actually don't know if I would want to go to a free food market.
Again, feathering into my shadows a little bit. Not too much, but enough to blend all this back together.
Doka, I think you're reading wrong. I feel like we would be a little too easy to find for all of that. We'll have to make it more of a like a scavenger hunt. Doka's taken everything. He's just gonna steal all our stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and claim that we said that it was okay.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, don't really want to be on that insurance call, but okay. I don't know. I'm pretty convincing, but that's a tough sell.
Yeah.
Can I have some of it? Can you cut me in on this deal?
This is all, I'm sure, being recorded, so.
Oh, sorry. we'll delete the video.
Oh,
Never heard of it.
he's gonna give you a free bag, though. I don't know how this happened.
I already have a bunch of bags.
Yeah.
I have a neat color called red.
He does have a red bag. He has
I'm
a
a
vintage
mean
bag,
bastard.
actually. Vintage red bag.
I have a vintage and a new one.
And a new one, because he does what he wants. The bags, for the record, are $59.99?
$59.99.
$59.99.
Nah.
If you hear anything else higher or lower, it's wrong. The
It's
official
Doka trying to
word-
sell them off the back of a truck.
The official word is that they are $59.99 plus shipping.
It's Doka selling them off the back of a truck, and there will be cops along shortly.
Red with blue mixed in. Yep.
now we get our skin tones coming back into focus, but we still get that nice.
Wait, does this mean that we can retire? Doka, are you gonna take over and give us all the money?
Feel like that works.
That works. He's putting the store link on there, so I can only assume that he's just gonna take over all our work.
I don't think you understand what that means.
I
don't think you're prepared.
Do you remember why I was an hour late? There you go. Now he's starting to feel the pressure. This is not the deal that you think it is, Doka.
Sorry, I'm blocking myself out again, man. I'm working on all these multi-part models. I put the big part of the model.
And I'm not paying attention because I'm too worried that people are going to come and think that we have nothing here. Well, I shouldn't say that.
It's Doka's models and hobbies now.
We have a bag of 50 agitators that are $1.75. That's the cheapest item that we have. And then it jumps up to $3.75 for a bottle of paint. And then after that, there's some brushes, single brushes that are probably like $6.
There's a $5 brush.
$5 brush.
The artillery brushes have some.
$5.99 or something like that.
Yeah, like a $5.99 brush, I think.
I mean, you're definitely right, Doki. You could eat a lot of brush soap. I don't recommend that.
Don't eat the soap.
But you could, if you choose to. I don't think it's a good idea.
Don't eat the soap. This is not what people do.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't
they
know
might
that you
do it, but this is not what you should do.
Yeah, I don't know that you would really be happy with yourself if you ate the soap.
And I'm really happy with that. You can see the difference if I pull these over here. Right. Where we're at now. Right. How that brighter skin tone just kind of pulls it all together, forces all of our purples into the shadows exactly where we want them, continues to blend them in really nice.
No, it's the unicorn magic that helps me get through shipping. And if I'm not here, neither are the unicorns. So keep that in mind too, Doka. Kevrob, I think he would know. No, the unicorns are much less productive when we give them a huge bag of weed.
A huge what?
Still One More Name said unicorn magic equals a huge bag of weed. And I said, no, the unicorns are definitely not nearly as productive, when we give them a huge bag of weed.
I feel like that's a thing around here.
No, the unicorns are not harmed in the making of the soap. I feel like maybe we need to put that on the label. No unicorns
were actually harmed in the making of this soap.
We do not grind up unicorns for the soap.
That we tell you.
No, we don't. Don't start that rumor. You know what people do here. They take you very literally.
Like I said, we're just not that we tell you about, at least. That very faint green. Digging it. I want to go back with a little bit of the darker flesh.
No, that's horses, Kev Rob. Boneyard, the patches are available now. Yep, they're on the store.
They what?
Patches are available on the store.
Yep.
So there's the unicorn, the bomb snail, and the heart bomb.
Liking it. It's a looking good.
That's awesome. Doka, where's he going? Very exciting. My first day of college was my birthday.
I guess that's right? I guess your birthday falls right around the, hey, go back to school.
It did then. Now, I mean, schools aren't, well, college starts next week, I think. But, like all the public schools have already gone back here. Okay, so Doka, I think, had a question about the colors.
Uh-huh. Clean this out.
Okay. So the colors are dark umber, shadow flesh, then the purple and green bits, then the shadow flesh and tan flesh mix, then tan flesh highlight.
And flesh highlight. If we do that, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I probably will go straight to tan flesh highlight. I'm going to go back with a little bit of the shadow flesh now to tie the green areas in. I want a little bit more of that kind of pinkish brown flesh tone in here. So I'm going to do that real quick. I'm backtracking a little bit, but that doesn't change the color workup. It just means that not enough of the shadow flesh is showing through for my liking. So I'm going to go alter that a little bit. But yes, and then the tan flesh straight as a little bit of a highlight would be perfect. I want the skin to be a little bit more healthy looking than it is right now. We've got a really good pale kind of a skin going on.
I'm a little bit amazed that I did remember Doka, especially after the past couple of days I've had with like just orders in my head.
All right, I think we're good. All right, yeah, so I'm going to grab a little bit of the shadow flesh. I'm going to turn this, not like that. Down
Boneyard booked his hotel for Adepticon already.
Nice.
And it seems
happen. I'm sure that'll happen. I don't know. This Adepticon will be cool. I don't know. Don't know what we're going to be doing. Whatever model will be out at the time will be fun.
bigger and better resin beast.
No, I mean me painting.
Oh, you don't.
He
know
said
you're
painting,
painting.
me watching me painting, and I'm like, I don't know what I'll be doing
Oh,
because I don't know. Haven't really thought about the schedule enough
I know I can't
to look
think
at
of what's
Adepticon and what
not
model is
far.
the Adepticon model.
Yeah.
But there will be a, obviously a new model for that month, and it'll be fun to figure out. You wouldn't remember Resin Beast?
No, going back and checking the paint colors that you.
Oh, gotcha.
Because it was a long time ago that he asked.
Gotcha.
But the AC was on, so I said I would wait and ask.
Right. I do remember that. All right, there's the color I'm wanting right there. All right, so I'm going to come back in. I'm going to kind of feather these areas. Where our green is here. Way off screen. There we go. That's what I was missing. Was a little bit more of that healthy pink. Now, the green that does show through doesn't look quite as sickly. A lot of times that flesh color is all you need, right? A little pinch of life, a little bit more red, pink, and it goes a long way towards helping out. Now we've got that kind of cool pale skin underneath, so I can kind of play with both these colors. Technically, we're throwing a darker color over a lighter color right now. But value-wise, they're not horribly different.
Oh, hot in here. I'm going to go turn that up. I turned it down earlier.
Yeah, it's on all the time.
Yeah, well,
He's working hard. Now we're getting some cool color shifting around. You can see how we're getting some of that pinkish flesh and then that pale flesh and then more pinkish flesh. So it's giving us kind of a glow, but we're maintaining that purple and that green underneath. So the skin tone's really starting to pop. I think that was exactly what I needed to bring it all back together. Remember, we don't know what we're doing with the arms, so we're just kind of layering some skin flavoring onto the arms.
that little base there just so he doesn't tip over?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yipper. I was worried that I wasn't going to be able to control this beast.
Yeah.
And I was right. It's a pain in the butt. What? Hairy crotch?
Is that what that is?
Yeah, he's got his hairy crotch.
Wow.
He doesn't manscape quite as well as you ought to, probably.
That's another reason. The queen deserves better.
So rude. That's the glow I wanted back.
Boneyard, this is the box art, so I think he's not going for odd. But Boneyard said, why not do something odd like jade transitioning to burnt orange with bright highlights on the tips and teeth and bones?
What are you talking about? Like redo my skin? Have you lost your mind? Have you? I think we chose jade armor.
Bones.
I think we chose jade armor. That came up in chat today, and so I'm a fan of the jade armor route. So I think that's what we're going to be doing. That allows me to do a little bit more cool stuff with the gold trim. The jade and the gold, green and gold look fantastic together. So the jade and gold allow me to build up from a blue because the previous idea was blue armor. Why did I just do this? I need this on the heads. I'm an idiot. Bastage.
I'm going to leave out the name that he called you and just say that he's talking about the arm claws.
The what?
The arm claws?
Yeah. Yeah, we're not going to move to jade because we're doing the jade on the armor is what I'm saying, right? So we got to pick a different color. I don't think we'd have the armor looks manufactured, right? This guy, the armor doesn't grow out of his skin. On some of our demons, the way the armor works, that would be perfect, right? The armor could be jade, and then we could also use jade as the color that transitions out to the claws. We do need a color for the skin to turn into. So you're thinking right. It just can't be jade because I think we've chosen jade as the armor color.
I think that's what he was thinking about doing for the metallic, right? Is the jade, like what I have on this Gorgadra.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be
I'm not doing it.
Kind of a jade metallic armor.
Dave's mini art, thank you.
Dave's 7 months. Thank you, my friend. Yeah, like a like a shiny, reflective jade armor would be my goal. Put him over there. I'm an idiot. I forgot we have other parts.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not doing it. Definitely not.
Yeah, his Stitch smile is creepy as hell.
Scary.
Creepy as hell. Easy. Hold these up together again so you can see how the pinkish, that straight pale on the left, breathes a little bit more life back into it, right? Makes it feel like there's warm blood pumping through. We leave enough of the pale showing because that's the good color.
So what is the stuff coming out of the top of his head?
I don't know. Well, he has horns, and it's like armor over his horns almost.
Because I saw a face in there too.
Yeah, it's faces, like armored.
Okay. So kind of like the queen has those faces all over.
Sort of, yeah. Kind of the same thing, right? Right, so I'm not doing everything. I'm keeping like the pale right at the front of the nose, but then going in with the kind of, the shadow flesh that has a little bit more of that pinkish in it at the pinch of the eye, the corners and the snarl lines there, right? So it just gives it a little bit more life. Brings the skin alive instead of being kind of one-dimensional. Same thing, we'll throw it down in the bottom of the neck area here. Redneck. Right, you can see the transition from the pale flesh to that redder flesh where the blood pools. It just gives us a much better look.
I thought of something that I want for my birthday.
What's that?
I want you to paint the model of me.
Paint the model of you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. The assassin Jen?
Yep.
Killer Jen?
Yep. Would have been so much better if she was holding a big pair of scissors.
Oh my God! I wonder if we could convert that. That could be a thing.
When we were at LVO,
See again, catching that pinkish flesh and then the pale flesh.
the booth across from us, they're called Dad's Armies, and they do 3D scans of you, of your face, and will put you on like a figure, and
It's great stuff.
it looks exactly like me. This won't really do much, but that's the model. We'll
Here. Let me put it on your screen.
Oh. It's for you to.
Here, give it to me. Jen. Like it's literally
it's
Jen.
legit my face. Like it's crazy.
It's amazing that it's Jen, and it's got the sword, but the resin on the sword is kind of beat up, so I have to kind of replace the sword anyway. So I wonder if we could make that like a big pair of
giant
scissors
pair
or
of
something.
scissors would be really cool.
It'd be funny if we could do a pair of scissors. Yeah, so it's assassin Jen, so we'll paint Jen.
Yeah.
There you go.
So yeah, what's the next one? I think they're going to be at Nova. Has Nova Open already happened?
No.
I feel like they're going to be
coming
there.
up. Like 2 weeks.
They were probably at Gen Con. But if you go to any conventions, look for them. Dad's Army. Or Armies. Dad's Armies.
Yeah.
Guy he's British, English. It's the nicest couple. He and his wife run the booth, and they're so sweet. And it was super affordable.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Something like $30.
It was ridiculous.
To get yourself
like,
scanned.
Are you sure?
And then they make the model, and then they send it to you like a few weeks later. And we also got a bunch of. Jason did it too, but he didn't get himself on a model. He just got a bunch of heads. So someday we'll do
we've
something
got
with
heads.
that.
We've got heads to make Space Marines
Yeah.
out of. Their size
There's
for
some
Space
for me
Marine
too.
models.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah. So we've got them for doing like Space Marine, shoving a head into a Space Marine to make a Jen and a Jason Space Marine.
Oh, but
we go with
you know,
that guy.
I can run with scissors. I'm allowed. I'm an expert.
Yeah, so I think our skin is really coming together. I'm really digging this. Very, very nice. We'll do a couple of spot highlights with the tan flesh, and then the skin will be done. It's that easy. And it's
Bill
almost quitting
Robertson-
time, for Christ's sakes. Holy hell.
Yeah. Bill Robertson, as an assassin, I think that would be my goal.
So just tan flesh as a highlight, like I think Doka said. Was it Doka that was saying that? Airbrush real quick.
He does look like a skeevy old man.
Me? What? I took a shower today.
We don't have the files for it. No, I don't know if they make
For a Jen
this.
Assassin? I bet he'd do it.
I don't know. I mean, if you buy your own, like if you go and get scanned, I don't know if they sell you those or not. I'm not sure how that works. But
you can pick a body, and that costs one thing, or you can pick a bunch of heads.
Oh, okay. But does he give them the file so that they can print their own later? No.
I think you can buy the file from him. I think I didn't have that conversation with him because we don't have a 3D printer,
Right.
but I'm pretty sure that he'll scan you, and then you can get the STL file from him. He does all the work to put it on a body. He's got all sorts of sculpts that he's done.
They're on Facebook.
Like
Find them
sci-fi
on Facebook and see
stuff like
what
that.
their schedule is. And I don't know if they have a regular website, but I know they're on.
They are a super nice
They're
couple.
so nice.
Super nice couple. Oh, I did somehow bend my freaking needle. How did this happen? Ugh. Want to have to buy a needle. New needle time. Rats. Actually, maybe not, because I found that those needles work in here. So I'll just use, I'll just keep stealing the Iwata needles for the Grex brush.
Dilka wants to know if the goat's eyes are large enough to actually paint like a goat's eyes and be recognizable.
Probably not. Yeah, I don't know what a goat's eye looks like specifically. Like you'd have to explain. I mean, they're not terribly small, but you know they're. Hang on, let me mix this up. I'll show you the head.
Someday, Light and Passion, maybe. Oh, they have weird shaped irises.
Like hourglasses, like octopus. All right, let's grab it. It's back on. Right, so it's that big. So that could be a detail that you could sneak in there. All right, so this is straight tan flesh. It's going to be the brightest skin tone that we've used so far, so we're just looking for detail highlights. So I'm going to get in close again, right? And only from the top, so we'll get his forehead here. And just kind of spot highlight that forehead. A little bit on the nose. Right. And a little bit on these eyebrows where the brow line comes out the most. And if I angle it right, yeah, I can get the cheek at the same time. Something over here. A little on that crazy Joker-ish chin that he's got going on there. Broaden that forehead highlight a little bit. There we go. Good. I have to do a lot of brush painting on the rest of those details anyway. Same thing here, just kind of right down the nose. Heavy brow that he's got. He'll have less highlight on the cheeks because of the way that heavy brow almost extends enough to cover the cheek entirely. Get a little bit of this front lip. Probably it. I don't know what we're doing with this shell. It's probably going to be whatever color the chitin at the end of the arms is. So we'll go ahead and put a little highlight right back here, but not too much. It faces downward, so this would have brightness to it, but like so. Skin looks pretty good. And get that knuckle. Spot a highlight there, a little highlight running on that knuckle too. Probably it. Not trying to overdo this color. Again, you guys know or should know well enough that if you take your highlight color and get way too aggressive with it because it looks good, you see the highlight on there and you're like, oh, that's the contrast I've been needing on the model, and then you do it everywhere to get that contrast everywhere, all of a sudden you realize you've got too much contrast and the model looks a little crazy. Disco ball it. I feel like my camera keeps going off. Buzz. Hold please. It's it keeps forgetting exposure, I think. Sitting here, look, sorry guys. Hold please. Yeah. See, because it's been blowing out color all day. And I've set it up. I wonder if I have to do that every time. Yours doesn't. Yours remembers it. Mine, on the other hand, does not. Sorry about that. I'm just looking at it going, what the hell is going on with this camera? I think my camera, I have the oldest one that we use.
You had the better one.
Huh?
I thought you had the better one.
They're both the same. Yours is the new one.
Oh.
And mine's the old one.
Definitely should switch them then.
But it forgets the exposure settings, right? I have to turn the exposure down because of the lighting here is super bright. Now you're good. Now you're reading more where that highlight is coming in. So much better now.
I thought it looked great already.
Picking up these peaks of muscles, leaving some shadow, peak, right, shadow, peak. The top of this bicep right here. Now we've got to take the scarification stuff into account, right? As I highlight this, I don't want to do just the whole panel. I want to leave some shadow as I go into the scars. Just get the pop coming out.
Neil King Diamond.
The Neil King Diamond, not real King Diamond. What's going on?
Neil, like Neil.
Oh, but King Diamond. You probably don't know who King Diamond is. No. That was bad.
Who's King Diamond?
Metal.
Oh.
A little tear in the paint right there. I'll have to fix that with a brush probably. Not really going to be as much shine over here because the guy's head. I should put the head on. His head looks over to this side. Right. I got to remember not to highlight this too much.
Okay, Rob. At least not that we're admitting. It could be an orc diamond with like some feathery hair and like a silky shirt unbuttoned down to his navel.
The hell are you talking about?
I'm talking to my friends right now.
Hey,
you
just stay out of it, right? Am I getting the? You just stay out of it. I'm talking to my friends. Right, so we keep the glow coming from the shoulder onto the top of the pec and kind of this radial glow, and then just a hair hitting on some of the abs, not right under the pec as bright, but then these pop out, and then this one, because my light's kind of coming off the right shoulder because of the way his head looks, because we're going to have shadow from the chin over on this one. Right. So now we've got some good highlight coming in. We finish that up with the brush.
Drax said, but the other head is straight on, so how do you highlight so they both make sense?
Well, that's why I'm doing it like I am, right? Is that I pick off the right shoulder, so I can do the other one exactly the same way. You'll see. I'll show you in just a second. Back of that arm is not going to have much highlight. There's not going to be much, if any, in there. None in on the thighs, really.
Bill Robertson, I like the way you think.
Throw a little bit on these arms just because. There won't be any on his butt because it's got the butt cloth over it, so that's not a thing. Kind of just spot some on the back tendons, and I think that's pretty much it, right? We don't need a whole lot more than that.
We need a 3D sculpted Neil Diamond head for that guy.
This is it. Neil King Diamond. That's Neil King Diamond. But see, by coming from like kind of off this shoulder, it works either way. You notice I highlighted a little bit here, right? But if I bring it from this offside, his head will still shadow this pec. Not as much as the other guys, right? But enough to where this still works. Whereas this guy, I can't highlight that pec anymore because of his head and the direction it's going, right? I might could get a little bit of a spot highlight. Let's hold this like this. Right? I might could get a little bit of a spot highlight right in. Like that, right? I feel like that works.
Although, I mean, I feel like the actual Neil Diamond is no longer with us, so this could be what he looks like now.
I feel like we can grab that little bit of glow on his left pec and get away with it. Yeah. And then that ties them both together really well, just by hitting that little highlight there. The main one that we're painting for is the goat head, right? And this guy is the because it's the studio model, we need to have this head on it as well. But I really like that. I think that that skin is coming together. It's a little more pale than I was thinking of when we were talking about bronze, but this really sells it as good human skin tone. We still get some of that greenish. You can see that pale green kind of coming through right out of the shadows. So we get that purple moving into a little bit of pale green, and then we get that lively flesh, right? That pinkish flesh still stays on there really, really well. Right? And then that little burst of highlight that I think really does the heavy lifting for us. Probably need a little highlight right in there. So a little bit right here. Little triangle right there. Ties the lower arm to the upper arm through that bend. I think I want to see a little bit more highlight. Ah! Oh well. See a little bit more highlight on this lower abdomen. Yeah. Get a pinch. Just a little dusting on the top of this lower ab here on the left. His left, our right. So that it matches this. Little ghosting highlight here, brighter highlight here, brighter highlight here, a little bit here. That's working pretty well.
Mini Painter J wants to know if the purple and green would still work for female skin like on the queen, or would you shade with different colors?
No, I would use the same for human flesh. Female flesh and male flesh don't have any differences other than, you know, personal choice. Like, is one more tan, you know, whatever.
Does one have more?
Oh, well, yeah, if one has more tattoos. But like, if you were to look at here, let's do this. Right. If you look at Jen's hand next to mine, we have our innate color differences, but really all of those underpaint layers are still there. You still get that same coloring of red at the fingertips and underneath, right? If we look at the top of the hand, right, you still get that same greenish, right, at the veins, right?
Very
the yellows,
don't be
right?
grossed out.
All the same colors are really there. It's going to be variations in like how dark your coloring is. You know, she may have a little bit more of a pale and more of a prominent yellow on her flesh because her liver doesn't work. But the
I'm seriously freaked out though after your sister told me that's why I get motion sick.
it could be
Because my liver doesn't work.
your liver don't work, so she got
Do I
motion
look
sickness.
yellow? I don't look yellow though.
No,
do I?
you don't.
Okay.
You don't. The camera shows it a little bit more, but it's just those small plays that would happen between like Asian skin tone.
My eyes aren't. My
all of the
eyeballs are not yellow.
Yeah, like
so.
all of what we would call Caucasian skin tones, and Caucasian's the wrong word, right? Because if people think white people, but you know, Asians by and large have a little bit more of an olivey skin tone to them, but it's very, very similar across the board. And you look at that range until you get into like African skin tones, those you know, the Asian like mountainous region where it becomes very, very dark, almost like Hispanic skin tones there, but it still has more olive in it. But by and large, those underpainted tones stay the same for humans, right? We've got red blood, you know, and the color of our guts is all the same. Take off our skin and we're all the same color underneath, kind of thing. And so yeah, the reddish purples and the greens.
I feel like I have a lot of green right here. Like, do you see that? I'm seeing a lot of green right here.
Yeah, yeah, because it's the main vein there, right
Yeah.
there. Yeah. So those colors are all...
Just a little collage. It's not anything to be alarmed.
So I would use the same colors for female flesh as I am doing for this guy. If I were painting the queen along with him at the same time, we'd get those same exact colors. Mr. Rav, what's going on? Thank you for that follow. Jenna's jaundice. Her liver don't work.
Yeah. Just a little. It's fine.
But yeah, I use the same colors. When I teach underpainting, we don't talk in terms of sex or anything like that. It's all that these are the colors that exist under the skin, and because skin is translucent and it's just layer upon layer, each of those colors has an opportunity to show through. And in a model like this, could we get super detailed? He has some veins showing. We could go in and do the little green on that, and we may. Depends on how detailed I decide to get with the skin. Because if you've got an actual vein showing, right, like on his arm here, right?
Oh, yeah. Wow.
We could go in and we could do a little bit more green there, because obviously the way we spray, the airbrush color is going to peek out there. So the last big color that we hit there was that skin tone, right? You can see how well our airbrush colors spray, right? How smooth they are. You just don't get any spotting. It's
and
great.
how detailed the sculpt is too. That has the veins in it.
Yeah, the sculpt is fantastic, right? So we could take all of these veins and we could do a little bit of the green there. The problem with that is that you probably, when I do that kind of painting, I like to do it beforehand. Like I'd put the green on there and then we would shoot the skin tone over the top of it, because that's the way it is, and that's the way skin works. The vein color and the oxygenated blood versus the blood with the oxygen stripped from it going back to your heart is like that coloring happens and then skin gets layered over the top. And so you want to paint in that method if you can, rather than at the end of the day trying to go back and do a green line on top. It looks like he spilled something, or that you got paint, he's actually painted on him, kind of a thing. But yeah, you'll see some things that show like a woman's face and how to underpaint faces, and how we have like red and then purples and blues on the chin, yellow up top and red across the eyes for men. For women, you tend to not do the blues and purples on the chin because you don't have hair follicles there on women, so you don't get the same kind of 5 o'clock shadow or shading from the cheeks down to the jawline. So you tend to, on women, use more of a green. So you'll do a green from the cheeks down. You'll do more of a orangey red in here, and then the yellowy color on the forehead for underpainting. So there are certain things that I guess are sex related, because when you're painting a man, you want it to be a little bit darker. You want a little bit more stressed color on the jawbone area, generally. Whether you're doing 5 o'clock shadow or not, that's just kind of the way it works, because men have all those hair follicles there, right? So the skin is actually different for men on their face than for women. But other than that, there's really not a whole lot that I think of. I mean, I guess the same would go true for maybe some of your forearm areas, but nah, I don't even worry about it, because we're not getting to the point where we're really getting that particular when we paint necessarily. Game, what's going on? Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm super stoked. We got a lot done today. We've got a real good looking skin going on our King of E. And I think we're at a point where now we can start blacking out all of the overspray, right? Because we've got, oh my God, I keep forgetting, like, this guy's tongue is definitely going to break before we are done with this model, right?
Well, it will for sure.
Well, I've been saying it forever, right? So there's the one head. Your computer decided that now is the time we update.
Now's the time.
I think on him, now that I'm looking at it, before we get out of here, match these heads up on the back of the neck here, because there's a little bit of highlight space that I think we need before we clean the airbrush out. Keep it on the model now. I think we want a little more, maybe not. Maybe not. The highlight looks actually really good right there. The highlight on the back of his neck compared to the shoulder here. Make sure that's all good, but it actually is. The curvature of the neck would do exactly what we've got it doing. So
what's going on his back?
His skin is flayed to these arms and his spine and stuff going on in there. So all sorts of craziness.
That's crazy.
Where those big claws are bursting out. Yeah. That's the one head. That's the main head we're going to be focused on. And then this is the secondary head that he comes with. It's a choice when you build him as to what you want to do. We've just magnetized them, so you can do either one. But this one, we'll paint it to where obviously you can have both. He's going to have the flail. Flail's got this bitchin' skull and
That's kind of on here.
almost like an anchor.
It's got the same.
Oh, yeah. It is, isn't it?
It's the same as
As the priestess.
The priestess. Hers
Well, they
is
are
smoky.
both ecstasy, so
Yeah.
a lot of the themes kind of run along with them. And then he's got his butt drape. Covers up all that sexy butt painting that we've done. Got the cloth on there. But again, we paint all this because, you know, somebody will turn the model upside down and you want to have that.
Yeah, you got to see what's underneath all those coverings.
But you want to have that same flesh tone, and our purples and everything exist everywhere so that we don't miss it. So that's why I painted it with that off, so that all of that will still be easy to do. And then the hand that we've been painting for the blade, the weapon, goes over here in this hand. So far so good. We'll keep making progress on him. Again, I'm not sure what the timing is. I'd like to get him done as quick as possible, obviously, because he is the studio model, so that we can put it on the web. Right now, there's no painted representation of this guy yet. And we'll see what we can get done. Way to tilt him up. So that's what he is, and he'll fall over anyway. We're real happy with the skin. Hope that helped. Again, we can walk through the colors that we used on this guy. We started the day. Take my glasses off. With the dark umber as a base coat. Again, using all of our Monument Pro Acrylic paints. So the dark umber as a base coat to define the base layer of shadow color. Then we went to Shadow Flesh. After Shadow Flesh, we took the transparent purple and we did the shadow with fine detail work. If you're not as comfortable doing your airbrush work as you saw me do today, I was getting in there and like drawing lines with the purple and still blending it. You could easily do that with a brush. You can thin our transparent paints down on the brush and put them on it. It probably is easier to do that for most people, and it will look fantastic. But you basically just go in and in all of those shadow lines, place that purple and blend it in. And then after that, we took a mix of the transparent green and the transparent brown, and then thin that way down. It was probably 70% brown, 30% green, and then double that with thinner to make it super thin. And we blended those areas where the purple started creeping up into the flesh tones, right? So like underneath these ab and pec shadows where it started going up, we took the purple area and then we put the green between the purple and the skin tone that we had laid in, right? And you still get just a hint of that green brown underneath that brings the skin alive, right? It gives it the feel that it's not just, dark brown, mid brown, light brown, which feels like it's clothes. It doesn't feel real, right? So we get a lot more skin tone going on at the end of the day by adding those colors in. And then over to the top of that, we did a mix of the shadow flesh and the tan flesh. Right? And then eventually just the tan flesh as a highlight. So 6 colors, just used in the right order and in the right amounts. We break it down to the very, layman's terms that all painting is the right amount of paint in the right places. people get angry and laugh at me, but that's all we were doing, is really just thinking in terms of, again, where's our brightness coming from? How do we want this to look on the model? And then layering those colors on. And I did go back and add some of the shadow flesh to bring that life back in, because I felt like the mix of shadow and tan flesh made it a little too pale. So you probably would do the dark umber, the shadow flesh, then do all the transparent work, then come back with the shadow flesh over the transparents, and then the mix, and then the highlighter, right? Because I really do like the paler areas, right? Because you can see how we spark out. You can just tell sitting here how we have some areas that are pinkish, and then you can still get that pale skin tone, right? This area right here on his, let's zoom in a little bit. Do all these. Right? But if we look like right here on his abdomen, see how we have that kind of pinkish area right in here, and then it gets to that pale skin before we see a little bit of that green coming through, and then our purple shadow. This is what's giving it the life most of all, is that pinkish flesh. But notice how I didn't just spray it all over everything. So you don't just have an all pinkish flesh and then purple and then highlight. You've got the highlight, but then you've got some pale flesh coming out of the highlight, right? And then you've got some red flesh in towards the sternum, that pinkish flesh over here. So you get more blood pumping action here than over here. Same with this spot right here that's kind of a hot spot of pinkish, but then we get to pale flesh to the sides of that, and then again another hot spot. So mixing it the way that we did was kind of an accident on this guy. It turned out really, really good. And I think gives a really good look to it. So happy mistakes. Assassin, what's going on? First priming with the airbrush, nice. Never felt like you had any trouble with Citadel primer, but you think you're happy with the change? Nice. Nice. Yeah, once you airbrush prime your models, I feel like, as long as you don't have hassles along the way while doing it, I feel like it's the way you'll do it forever. I'll rattle can every now and then when I have to do a large amount of models. I'll take the rattle can primer and dust them from the top, and then I still bring them inside and turn them upside down and airbrush prime them. It just cuts my priming time like in half. Right? Exactly, Boneyard.
I thought it was happy accidents.
Happy accidents, yeah.
Okay.
All right, gang, it's 8:14. We're out of here. I need food. Dong, I need food. You hungry? No?
I ate that.
You ate a burger. You won't eat again for 3 days.
3 days.
Damn it, Janet. All right. Have a wonderful weekend, gang. We'll be back on Tuesday as normal at 2 p.m. Pacific, so please join us then. I'll probably be working more on this guy, and then we'll head into the week and see what's in store. Again, thank you so much for checking out the new stuff on the store. The King of Ecstasy is up there now. He's available to purchase, so go and check him out. Also, the go bags are there. I don't know if we have blue. It's going to be a close one. Purple sold out. Blue was damn close, but I think Kevrob nabbed one during the show, so you might check. Yep. If you still want a limited edition go bag, the purple and blue will be gone, I guarantee, by the end of the weekend.
And if you purchased anything on our store before the stream started, until Kevrob, because this was the last one I did, it'll go out tomorrow.
Oh, look at her. What? You're committing to doing Saturday shipping.
Oh, it's all ready. I just need to put the label, do the postage.
Everything
else is ready. They just need to be posted.
You don't get this kind of stuff.
The
you don't
post
get
office
this kind of stuff
doesn't deliver stuff when I just write someone's name on the box with
from other places. Thank you so much for the hosts, the follows, the raids, the subs and resubs, and new guys and old guys alike. Thank you so much for hanging with us. Have a wonderful weekend, and don't do anything we wouldn't do. We'll catch you on the flip side. Adios. We're out. I'm out of here. I'm done with you. And you. And you.
Good.
And you.
About time.
And you.
Jeez.
And definitely you.